another Square and Compass live stream. I hope everybody, as always, is doing well. Please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button.
Bill Atkinson Sr. Worship.
Pause that for 1 second. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're here to chat about Freemasonry, as I do every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. as well as 1 a.m. Had a great stream yesterday. There were some people on there with whom I very much disagreed, but that was fun as well because it gave me the chance to express why I disagreed with them, why I think their ideas were anti-Masonic or in opposition to what Freemasonry stands for, things like pluralism, democracy, kindness, respect, things of that nature. But ultimately, I think that having those debates makes me stronger. I hope I push back effectively against them and manage to express my views effectively as well. But thank you everybody for being here. Please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. Today I want to talk more about something I meant to talk about yesterday, and I talked about yesterday at 1 p.m. Freemasonry and how Freemasonry can, and civic groups in general, can, in my opinion, assist in preventing or reducing or mitigating criminal activity, social connections thereon, and how those things can mitigate or reduce criminal activity. Also, I want to give a shout out to Ontario Masons, my home jurisdiction, for their current work on their More Than a Mason social media campaign, which they have done some absolutely incredible work on. I'm seeing a lot of those pop up on my feeds. I'm trying to share them as much as I can. Pay attention to those things because they look pretty incredible. In the meantime, please hit like, please hit subscribe, jump in the chat, say hello. Let me know how you're doing and what you want to talk about. I mean, right now, my goal is to get Patreon money per month. So please support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Square and Compass. And let me know how you are doing. Otherwise, when you're joining us, thank you all for being here. Once again, I want to talk about Freemasonry and mitigation on crime. I think civic groups like Freemasonry mitigate criminal activity and crimes, both recidivism and those considering going down that path for the first time. As well, the Ontario Masons social media campaign, which looks incredible. And then we'll just chat about anything else we want to chat about. Harry Krishnam. Well, thank you, Harry. That is very, I appreciate that. But I do not have any bank loans. But that's a very nice statement to make indeed. Good afternoon. Sunny New York, Croton Lodge number 368. Okay, New York. Awesome. I've never really had the chance to visit a lodge in New York. I got to see the Grand Lodge building, and it was beautiful. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys hit the like and subscribe button. I don't know, camping, if you've been on here before. Normally, I spend the first half hour to an hour just chatting with people as they come on stream about whatever they want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, any questions they have. And then after that, I have specific topics such as social groups, civic groups, and mitigation of crime. And I think Freemasonry is a part of that. The Ontario Masons internet campaign or social media campaign, which I've been sharing on my social media, and anything else you want to talk about. So please jump in the chat and let me know how you're doing. And thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I've been a Freemason since 2007. So almost 20 years. Primarily, I'm a member and my mother lodge is in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. However, I am a member of a lodge in Texas as well as a member of a lodge in Israel. But camping with SOCOM, how's it going? Let me know if you're doing well and anything you want to chat about. I'm doing well. How are you? Where in New York is your lodge located? I don't know where Croton Lodge is off the top of my head, but hopefully I will get to visit. I'd love to visit New York. I've been there once, and when I say New York, I'm speaking exclusively of New York City, so I've never had the chance to visit anything in New York outside of New York City. I'm told a lot of New York is beautiful, especially upstate. But Freemasonry, I am doing well. How are you doing? Carmel, New York, Putnam County, about an hour north of New York City. All right, well, I will keep that in mind for sure, and I will see if I can't make my way to visit. Let's see if I can figure this out. Carmel, New York. I'm just gonna look on maps, see if I can find it. It's funny, even though this is a 1 p.m. stream, I tend to get more of an audience during 1 a.m. I don't know why. Apparently, my audience are like me, a bunch of night owls. Carmel, New York. Nice. A lot of lodges do stuff like that. I think things like that are excellent. I think more Masonic lodges need to be spending more time with breakfasts and coffee clubs and things of that nature. I think that stuff really helps our lodges grow in membership, grow in relevance in our communities. So that is awesome. All right, let's see. An hour north of New York. So I'm wondering if I get there through... If I want to go there, I'd probably go through Toronto, Buffalo. Time does fly. You are not wrong. 10 years, whether it's, 10 years or for me coming up on 20 years, it's pretty incredible. So time absolutely does fly. I feel it. I can't believe it's been almost 20 years for me. Are you, is your mother lodge exclusively in New York? Welcome back, Mark. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. You know what they say, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana, so... Okay, so that's your mother lodge. I mean, I agree. I love Freemasonry. I think Freemasonry is, in my opinion, uh, the best decision. I think Freemasonry. Here's the way I always. You were on yesterday, right, Mark? So, yeah, welcome back to the stream. If I recall, unless there's a different Mark, but I could have swore you were on here yesterday. Yeah, that's what I meant. I've described it for me personally. This is the analogy I use. Um, so my favorite song. When people ask me why I love Freemasonry, I always say I like the way it sounds, right? And what I mean by that is my favorite song in the world, camping, is Welcome Back, Mr. Keeps on Taking. My favorite song in the world is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. My second favorite song in the world is Prodigal by Blacktop Mojo. And a million people can hear this song, Simple Man. Some people will love it. Some people will hate it. Some people will think it's okay. Some people will, whatever it is. Everybody will hear the exact same song, but we will have two different interpretations of it, or 3 or 4 million different interpretations of it. And that's dependent on my personality, as well as the environmental factors which shape me, as well as the what was happening in my life when I heard that song for the first time. All these things interact and I don't choose to love the song, right? The song chooses me. Freemasonry is the same way. I'm sure you've seen this yourself in about your 8 years as a Mason camping. You know, a million people can go through the Masonic ritual, can join a Masonic lodge. Some people will love it, some people will not enjoy it, some people will be ambivalent towards it. For whatever reason, there's something about the personality that I have and that you have where we just like the sound of it. It chooses us, right? The things we love choose us, we don't choose them. And for whatever reason, Freemasonry is something that shows me that I just love very much. And there are other people who, for whatever reason, even people who join Freemasonry who end up not feeling the same way, and that's fine too, right? But it's something that I love, and it's something that I think makes the world a better place. And which is why I think it's worth and important that we fight for it. Mark says, "Give Me Two Steps" is better. "Give Me Two Steps" is a great song. "Give Me Two Steps" is an absolutely great song. I would say, though, in my view, it goes "Simple Man," "Tuesday's Gone," "Sweet Home Alabama," "Free Bird," the classics, because I'm basic, right? So I'm a basic bitch, if you will, and I will stick with the classics. I don't think I've listened to that song yet, but that sounds really familiar. I may have looked at part of it and then stopped watching for some reason, but I remember you telling me about that. I'll take a look at it again. I'll even write it down so I don't forget, because knowing me, the Brotherhood, Vince. I agree, camping, our path is determined by those things. Our path is also determined by our own personality, our own desires, and our own commitments as well. Welcome back, Blue Lightning. It's wonderful to have your Blue Lighting. It's wonderful to have you join. Mr. Keeps on Ticking, thank you again. And Mark says, "I drink too much." Well, then drink less. Don't you want to, take care of your health. Take care of your health, take care of your well-being. And please hit the like and subscribe button. If by brother you mean Freemason, then yeah, I've been a Freemason since 2007. That's what I love about this stream, is a chance to talk about Freemasonry. That's why I do it. The purpose of Square and Compass Promotions is to explore the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it is located. And that's something I love doing. Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Actually, by the way, I think I saw, if I recall correctly, that you have joined the free membership tier, which I truly, truly appreciate. Even being free, I appreciate. But for tier 3, I'm just pulling it up. It is it changes, right? It doesn't stay the same. It changes kind of every few months, depending on what I've got at the moment. But it is a special commemorative postcard, which has some Masonic pictures on it from the 1930s, as well as a coin, commemorative Masonic coin. So that is the merch for tier 3. The only merch that stays consistent is tier 4, which is the scale model Masonic building. I mean, what I would say is don't automatically assume it will be expensive to join. It really is going to depend on, like, talk to them. Because for me, for example, I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges, and it costs me approximately $500 US per year, but that's because I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges. Each lodge costs between 100 and 200 American per year. I'm not saying, I mean, for some people that's too expensive. I get it, right? Money is really tight. $100 per year is not cheap. I get that. $100 to $200 per year is not cheap. But what I'd say is talk to them, because usually, in my experience, when you join a Masonic lodge, it's usually between 100 to 200 US per year, along with a one-time payment of $500 to $1,500. So, and if that is too expensive, I get it. It's very expensive. I don't know what I think when you say communion, you mean communication or recognition. Well, there's different lodges in France, right? There's the Grand Orient, there's the Grand Lodge, there's also Co-Freemasonry in France. But yes, they are in recognition with Masonic lodges in France. Okay, so $100 a year, $100 American, so about 130 to 140 Canadian. That tends to be what it is. One of the great debates amongst Freemasonry is whether dues need to increase or decrease. I personally think they need to go up um, over time, but that's my own personal opinion. Uh, what are the benefits? So camping may disagree with me on this, which is, he can put in the chat because I used to give kind of some of the standard answers to that question, which was the benefits are you get to meet people you would not otherwise meet. You get to develop new brothers. You get to develop new strengths. You get to learn how to memorize, as well as how to run meetings, how to work with others with whom you disagree, which can come in handy in other areas of your life. Honestly, you get some type of insurance in the sense that you're now part of a lodge that may assist you with benevolence if you lose your job. All that stuff is what I used to say. Now what I say is there are no benefits to being a Freemason except for the benefit of getting the opportunity to fight for a better world. That's why I consider myself a Mason, and the benefit I get is the chance I get to be part of something that makes the world a better place, or allows me to fight for a better world. It's kind of like, when you're applying for a job, sometimes people would make fun of that question. People would ask, okay, why do you want this job? And the joke answer was always, well, because I want the money. As though, like, why would you ask that question? Of course, it's for the benefits or the money, but it's like, no, you can get a job anywhere. You should want a particular job because you think you can contribute to that workplace, to that job, to make that workplace or make that job better or to do it well. And in the same way with Freemasonry, you should join Freemasonry not out of a desire for a benefit or benefits, but rather out of a desire to contribute. It's like joining a football team. You should want to join a football team not for what you can get from the football team, but rather so that you can contribute to the football team and help it win the football games, if that makes sense. So the benefit is the opportunity to fight for a better world, just like the benefit of joining a football team is the opportunity to help the team win. It's about what you can contribute, not what you benefit. And by the way, I will say, if any lodges, like if you ever get contacted by somebody on Facebook or otherwise asking you to join a Masonic lodge and saying that you will benefit in terms of financial wealth or fame or influence, it is almost 100% a scam. Any Freemasons who make any promises like that are scamming you, right? Freemasonry is not going to make you rich or famous or anything like that. My lodge and others helped me immensely recently financially as we're battling cancer. I'm very sorry to hear that, Camping. My parents both battled cancer. My mom and dad. My mom passed away from it. My dad recovered. I'm incredibly sorry that you're going through that, but keep on trucking, man. Keep your head up. We're all thinking of you. And yeah, you are joining a group where there is potential, I hate to use the term insurance, but potential insurance against unexpected calamities, job loss, medical, because most lodges have benevolence funds where if you need assistance, they can provide it for you. I've taken advantage of benevolence in the past. I know many brothers have. My first tuxedo was purchased through benevolence. So, and being careful with clandestine lodges is absolutely the case. And if it's a matter of you can't afford it, then that's okay. You can't afford it, right? That's completely understandable, completely reasonable. That's no worries at all. I just appreciate you being here. Well, I mean, you could argue, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, that Freemasons engage in occultism at every level, in the sense that occultism simply means hidden, right? So any ritual that we perform that is private, you could argue is occult. In the same way, you could argue, Pepsi, the soft drink company, the fact that it keeps its recipe a secret is, an occult practice. It's only been recently that occult has taken on kind of more sinister or ominous tones in some type of indifferent, what's the word I'm looking for, in different contexts. I do, but I think we need to be kind of careful about sometimes some of those semantics, because what I've noticed is sometimes people will use the term occult, uh, but they'll use it in different ways. So I'm always super careful about it, because like somebody people will say something to the effect of like, is Freemasonry a cult? Yes or no? And usually when somebody tries to ask you a question where they're expect a yes or no answer, um, that's usually a trick when it comes to that's usually a trick of some sort when it comes to debating. But what was I trying to say? um, I try to be very careful in those semantics and make sure people understand there's different versions or types of what occult means. And the more sinister magic, quote unquote, meaning is really a more recent invention. Meeting opinion on Memphis Mizraim, right? I don't know enough about Memphis Mizraim other than it is a recognized Masonic body throughout much of Europe, uh, throughout Russia, for example. One of the things people need to remember about Freemasonry is not the same everywhere. It's different in different jurisdictions. So, as far as Masonic orders go, it is recognized in Russia, it is recognized in many European countries, and, I'm fine with that. Thank you, camping, and enjoy your lodge meeting tonight. I would very much love the opportunity to visit your lodge. Hopefully, one day I'll get the chance. Like I've said, I've heard a million times that it is an incredibly beautiful, beautiful spot. I appreciate that. But keep in mind, Mister Keeps on Ticking. And one thing we always need to remember about this stream is I'm not just talking to you, right? Like, whenever anybody asks a question, I always try to think of two answers, right? I try to think of, the answer to the person who asked it, as well as what answer should I give to anybody who has seen the question and is maybe not familiar, right? That's one of the challenges you have with discussions, debates, pick your term, is, if I'm discussing and answering a question, like let's say a Mason asks me a question, I will understand the nature of the question based on his Masonic um, career, but I also need to answer the question for those who are not Masons as well, right? So that's why when somebody says, for example, like when a Mason asks a question like, what is my opinion on the Order of Women Freemasons, which I support, by the way, I need to first explain what that order is for non-Masons, and then explain the history of it before I get to the answer. So it's a complex thing being online, being on social media, right? It is absolutely a complex thing. A lot of people have been fallen into the trap of not taking that complexity into account and getting into trouble on social media. But it's still something I love to do. And Mr. Keeps on Ticking, I truly love the fact that you have joined me here, as well as everybody. Um, Welcome. If you're just joining us, please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button if you are new to the stream. Let me know if you have any questions about Freemasonry. Once again, we have our 1 p.m. stream, which has, interesting to see how it has slightly less people than the 1 a.m. stream. My people are night owls, which is great. I find it beautiful as well. And again, that's one of those things where a lot of people will, well, I mean, I'm not sure if when you say that, Mr. Keeps on Taken, you're referencing the Catholic faith. Um, all is well, raised eyebrow. Hope you're well. To my knowledge and understanding, and I don't want to, um, I don't want to speak 100% on this because it's not my dog park. It's not my area of expertise. Um, so I know for sure that there are many Catholics who are Freemasons, and have been Freemasons without issue. To my knowledge, the extent to which it's not that you would be excommunicated, rather it's that if you were to tell the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church were to follow through, it's that you would not be able to take communion in a Catholic church, is, I believe, the current rules. Having said that, if you're a third degree Knight of Columbus and you love being a Knight of Columbus, then you know what, good on you. Stick to Knights of Columbus. They are a great organization. They are a great group. My view on it is plenty of sand in the sandbox. I have great respect for any community or civic organization, including Knights of Columbus. So good on them. Good for you. In fact, I'd love to get a Knight of Columbus on the podcast to talk about their organization at some point. See, and again, this is one of the things we're getting into theology, and it's not my area of expertise. I don't know if not being able to take communion automatically in Catholic doctrine, not being able to take communion automatically, consigns someone to hell. I don't know enough about it. I understood that excommunication and not being able to take communion, I always understood that sent you to purgatory, but I could be wrong. I always thought that was a purgatory sentence, and from there you could find your way into heaven over time. But not my area of expertise by any means. I could completely be wrong. I know very little about Catholic dogma or Catholic faith beyond the kind of the bullet points of it. Welcome. If you're just joining, please hit like and subscribe. But again, I have no issue with the Knights of Columbus. I think they are a great organization. They do a lot of charitable work as well. They do a lot of great work in the community, and I think you should be very proud of being a third degree Knight of Columbus. I've known a few great people, great guys. What do I think of Bohemian Grove? I don't know a ton about it. I have no issue with it. To my understanding, what Bohemian Grove is a group of rich people who got together in, I think it was in Texas, and performed some ceremony where they were worshiping some type of effigy. It mostly seemed like a chance for guys to dress up and have fun and party. And if they're not hurting anybody, then, okay, it seems kind of weird to me, but a lot of people think I'm weird, so what do I know? You look like Dad. Well, the dad in Alvin the Chipmunks must have been a very handsome fellow. So, please hit like and subscribe in honor thereon. Complex issue, but they consider participating in Masonry a mortal sin, hence not being able to take communion, and an unrepented, unconfessed, unabsolved mortal sin leads you to hell. I mean, so be it. I read Moloch the Owl. So if Bohemian Grove people want to worship Moloch the Owl, then I guess so be it. Like I said, I find it strange, but people find Freemasonry strange. People find the Catholic Church strange. People find a lot of different. People find odd fellows odd, if you will. See what I did there? So I don't know. I'm not going to automatically discount it or view it in a particularly negative view, because to my knowledge, if they want to worship the effigy of an owl, so long as there's no people being involved or being hurt, then go nuts, you know. I guess what I'd say, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, this is more my general view. It seems to me that the modern view of Freemasonry within the Catholic Church seems to have been kind of cemented by Pope Leo the 13th and his papal encyclopedic from I think it was 1888, if I recall the date correctly, called Humanum Genus. I have read it. I think that the view of Freemasonry based on that work, which seems to have set the tone, is based on a lot of misconceptions about what Freemasonry is and what it does and its purpose in the world. Also, I do think there was a little bit of jealousy by Pope Leo the 13th towards Freemasonry and its numbers growing. I do have some hope, Mr. Keep on Ticking. Yeah, but I think that 1983 declaration was based on ideas from Pope Leo the 13th and Humanum Genus. It had a lot to do with the hoax. It had a lot to do with I can't think of the name of it now. That hoax that a lot of Catholics fell for. I do have some hope, and you may disagree with this, Mr. Yes, Generis. There we go. No worries, Mark. Thank you for being here. I do have, and the Leo Taxil. Yes, that's what I was looking for. I do wonder if the current Pope, Pope Leo the 14th, may be open to reconsidering the Catholic views on Freemasonry. The reason being, the current Pope was born in 1955 in Chicago, a place I'm going back to shortly. He would have lived in a time when Freemasonry was incredibly ubiquitous. When he was 4 years old, there were more Freemasons than at any other time in America. He would have seen it throughout Chicago in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So I wonder if he might have different views on Freemasonry than, say, the previous Pope, who would not have had as much interactions with it. 25, you're Faye Mexican. Please hit like and subscribe. I've been to Mexico, been to Puerto Vallarta. There's Freemason Mexico, and it's a great group of guys. It's a great country. William Leduc, Dr. Eggman, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well also. Yeah, I call it Humanum Genus. I don't know why, but Generis is what I should have called it. Or I guess Humani. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It was what, 1888, right? I'm curious now. I'm trying to think of the date. No, it was called the Humanum Genus. Humanum Genus, 1884. Yeah, Humanum Genus, April 20th, 1884 by Pope Leo the 13th. Well, I've got it, according to the Holy See from the Vatican, but again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. And again, this could be the English version or English translation of the original. I'm guessing it was written in Latin originally. I'm going to put it in the chat, just the actual, what I get from the Holy See and kind of the Google search. If I could pull it up now, give me 1 second. Having said all of that, I know, like I said, I think I believe our communities are strengthened when we have strong civic and community groups, and that includes um, Knights of Columbus. So I have no issue with the Knights of Columbus at all. I think, again, credit to them for existing, but I do hope the Pope reconsiders the Catholic view on Freemasonry. I have some hope that he will consider it. So we'll see. Yeah, see, I don't know all the things he wrote. It seems to me, though, that his most famous work on Freemasonry was Humanum Genus from 1884. Or what date did I give again? I can't remember the date. From, yeah, 1884, which I feel like really cemented the... the Catholic Church had issued proclamations against Freemasonry before that point, but that seems to be where most of the Catholic view on Freemasonry was really cemented. Welcome. If you are just joining us, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you are new to the stream, I would truly appreciate it. Freemasonry is incredibly prevalent and popular in the Philippines, which I understand has a very prominent Catholic population. And I know that they are interested, as well as, it's growing in popularity in, for example, Rio, which has a significant Catholic population. So we shall see. It's Beavis after he grew up. Well, Beavis was a very handsome fellow, so I concur with that. Please, if you're just joining, hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions on Freemasonry. What is up, your local Spurs fan? Thank you for being here. I hope that you are doing well. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Well, York Rite, it does have, I'm not York Rite myself, it does have a more, more kind of religious or Catholic or Christian, I should say, kind of undertones to it, to my knowledge. Scottish Rite is a lot of fun. Yeah, Memphis Mizram, it is considered irregular. Again, it's not considered irregular in many jurisdictions in Eastern Europe, Russia, for example. So, and it's not something I know a lot about, because it's irregular in Canada as well. So Z, how is life in Alabama? Have you managed to get at least some cooler weather lately, or is it still, a million degrees there? By the way, Z, I don't know if you have done so yet. Forgive me if you haven't, I've forgotten, but don't forget, we do have our Patreon, Scoring Compass Patreon. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button, I hope you will follow me on Patreon. You can become a member for free, or you can, pay a couple bucks per month. It's whatever you want. Nice. I hope that makes you feel a little bit better, because I am very, I cannot imagine being in Alabama. I would melt. I would absolutely melt. To everybody who's, I want to remind you guys about Patreon once again. It's something I'm very, very proud of. I'm working on it. And one thing about Patreon is if you have specific questions or ideas that you want me to cover, just let me know. It gives me the chance to cover them. I try to focus first and foremost on what patrons are interested in me talking about if they ever give any suggestions. Welcome, Courtney. You're almost there. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, I would melt. That freaks me out. I was hoping, Courtney, I can tell you this now. I was hoping to potentially get down to Texas to attend your Entered Apprentice year. That's why I was talking to, uh, oh my God, I can't think of his name now. The gentleman whose number you gave me. Um, Unfortunately, though, I don't think it's going to work for the August 5th, which I'd hoped I'd get down there and visit you. But I will be sending you a card and a congratulatory gift and token on getting your first degree. So look for that in the mail. And thank you again for sending me that information and the contact info. Like I said, Scott, I would have loved to have gotten the chance to visit him, or visit you, but no dice, unfortunately. But maybe, I'm hoping maybe I can visit for your third and be there for that. Where in Texas? Santa Ana. I'll leave it up to Courtney. Courtney, if you want to let Freemasonry know, because I feel like that should be your place, not mine. But Texas, it does. It does. I really like the symbolism of the checkerboard, to be honest. In emulation ritual, it's a little bit different in America and Preston Webb ritual, but in emulation ritual, it's meant to it's almost a lesson in temperance to remind us of the uneven paths on which we tread, right? Like today, things may be going well for you and you may be feeling great, but don't forget tomorrow things may be going badly for you. You may be feeling sad. So on days where things are going well, enjoy it. On days when things are going not so well, don't get too despondent when things are going poorly, nor get too excited when things are going well, but rather keep temperance in your life and in your decisions. Kind of this too shall pass philosophy, which is, in my opinion, a great philosophy. I think one thing we sometimes have an issue with in our life is choosing to get too I'm trying to think what the word is. We get too high on ourselves when things go well and too despondent when things go poorly. And that is something I have a problem with personally, and something which Freemasonry has assisted me with, which is when things are going poorly, I can sometimes get a little bit too despondent. And when things are going well, I can sometimes get a little bit too excited. I don't, I need to work on trying to keep myself kind of level-headed in my approach to things. On the level is very good. I mean, on the level is a Masonic term. It usually refers to the idea of, like meeting people on the level or equality, but on the level can also mean, being level-headed in your approach to the trials and tribulations of this world in which we live and of this life in which we live. Absolutely, thank you for all the support. Like I said, Courtney, you can expect in the mail shortly a congratulations card and a note and a token of congratulations. And let's aim for that third degree. Let's see what I can do. Yes, it will. Don't worry about that. Just make sure you don't let yourself down. That's the key. I'm not the judge, right? It's up to you. So it's about the person in the mirror. but keep up the absolute, the great work. And I kind of feel like I've been a part of your Masonic journey since, you joined these streams, which has been wonderful. To see you be a part of it. So thank you so much for being a part of the stream, being a part of Square and Compass Promotions family. Wake up. The billionaires convinced the millionaires that we should work for $20,000 a year. John the Baptist. Welcome, John. Hit like and subscribe. That's what we're doing. Talking about Freemasonry is also, the economic situation and inequality and all of that type of stuff is, that's kind of above my pay grade. What I will say, though, is for people who are making 20 grand a year and are struggling financially, Freemasonry provides a support system that can help them in times of need and in times of struggle. Interesting enough, there's a message from a John the Baptist. It was flagged by YouTube because it had a naughty word in it. But I will say, Freemasonry, the patron saint of Freemasonry is John the Baptist, right? Because one of the reasons is John the Baptist Day is June 24th, which is the day that the premier Grand Lodge of England was formed, as well as the day that Ben Franklin became the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania, as well as the day that the Grand Lodge of Ireland was formed. Interesting little tidbits there. I hope you guys will take a moment to let me know how it's going. Please hit that like and subscribe button as always. I hope that everybody is doing well. I was born 7 November 2015, so 10 years old. All right. Best Masonic building in the world. Oh my gosh. That's a super tough one. Because there's so many incredible buildings that are Masonic. I don't like people either, wake up, and I'm still a Freemason. Top 5 is easier. Top 5 is definitely easier. Windsor Masonic Temple, number 1, because it's the architecture combined with the fact that I was made a Mason there, so it has such incredible, memories to me that when I see the architecture of it, I immediately feel incredibly proud of it. Beyond that, Philadelphia, Glenview, Philippines, Indianapolis. Those are the places I visited. It's not just the architecture, it's the architecture combined with the memories of it and how I feel about it, right? And that's something that a lot of Masons understand intuitively, certainly stonemasons. The architecture, what matters about the architecture is the feelings it evokes, right? And that matters in terms of your time spent there. And I always recommend to any Masons who are traveling, take the time to visit a Masonic building. Even if you can't get in, even if the lodge building is closed, when you visit, just look at the facade, touch the facade, feel how beautiful it is. It will improve your Masonic experiences a lot. And if you have 2 Masonic I have two Masonic Instagram accounts. One where I document the Masonic exteriors or the facades, and one where I document the Masonic interiors of the buildings. So if you look up Masonic buildings, Masonic building interiors on Instagram, and follow those, you get to see a ton of beautiful Masonic buildings. I can imagine it's hot here too, and I'm not a fan of it. So it would be soupy season. Going back to Wake Up, I mean, I am not a huge fan of people either, but I still find an incredible amount of, like, I have to force myself to like people, and Freemasonry helps me with that. And I think it can be very dangerous if you don't like people and don't like going outside to become too isolated. You need people even if you don't like people, unfortunately. We're kind of wired that way, you know? So, for better or worse, we're wired in that direction, to need people even if we don't like them necessarily. I have not been to Mount Rushmore, but I would love to be. No, a lot of Masonic lodges are closing. You're not wrong, Wake Up, for different reasons. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's lack of membership, sometimes it's a combination. It's incredibly tough, so you're not incorrect. No, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's the lodges that close and go dark, is what it's called. Sometimes it's just they lose the building and they have to find a new building. So that can happen as well, unfortunately. Um, but I mean, that's not exclusive to Freemasonry either. I wish it was. Or sorry, I wish it wasn't exclusive to anything. But that's not exclusive to Freemasonry. Many other groups, even to what I understand, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, the Knights of Columbus are themselves significantly reducing in membership and are struggling in many locations. So it's unfortunate when that happens, right? I wish that wasn't the case, but that's kind of another can of tuna. And again, so I wish that, this is what I talked about even yesterday. I truly believe, I don't know if you, would agree or disagree with this, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, but civic groups, civic organizations, civic society, it absolutely helps, in my opinion, it absolutely helps and supports communities. It helps ensure that we have stronger communities, more successful communities. And so I would love to see a resurgence in, I would love to see a resurgence in all these civic groups, not simply Freemasonry, but also Knights of Columbus. That is a rabbit hole and a half, raised eyebrow. You are not wrong, because for Freemasonry in the former, not just Freemasonry in Eastern Europe in general, but certainly in former Soviet Union, it is both very new and very old, because it came to that area oftentimes in military fashion, Masonic lodges in military, in like British and other military forts in like the 17th and 18th centuries. Then it was outlawed during the Soviet era, or went underground, and then reformed in the 90s with the dissolution of the Soviet Union. So you have these lodges that have this incredible history, but are also incredibly new, which is fascinating to see. And there is also currently some issues in some of these places with play to pay, um, or kind of clandestine lodges or multiple lodges. Recognition is becoming a bit of a challenge there. That's for sure. So long as it's a recognized Masonic body, the way I often describe it is it's like if you speak Portuguese and are listening to Spanish. There's enough similarities you can understand. I heard a little bit about that. Yeah, Italy has some issues as well with some clandestine lodges and some issues. I don't know if I really hate people, but they seem to try to take advantage of me a lot. I'm sorry if they've been trying to take advantage of you. That sucks. I mean, like I said, I have tended lately to grow um, a little bit more cynical of people, but I'm trying not to be. In some ways, Freemasonry helps me try to keep off some of that cynical edge, but it 100% is there and is the case. So, well, it's great to see a lodge being reformed. Lux in Tenebrae? I don't know it. Or Ten. Well, it's easier to be not cynical online as opposed to I find cynical in person, because when you actually see people acting foolishly, I kind of have a different response to when I'm just reading kind of foolish, trollish comments. Uh, oh, still fighting the flu. I'm sorry about that. I hope you get better soon. Hot chocolate, that's a pretty decent cure for the flu. I prefer tea, for the record. When I have the flu, tea with honey and lemon. That's where it's at. Probably a good approach to have. Raised eyebrow, right? Trust but verify is another way they describe it. But I try to be a good man for what. That's kind of my view on it. I think all we can do is try our best to be good people. However it is that we reach that point. There's this quote I always liked. I think it was a priest. I think it might have been a Catholic priest that said it. Actually, I'm not positive, but he said, "I don't always know." He was talking to God, and he said, "God, I don't always know what the right thing is, but I I hope it pleases you that I try to do the right thing." And that's kind of how I view it. I don't necessarily know what it means to be a good man, but I hope the fact that I try to be a good man pleases God, the Lord, whatever it might be. Um, so, so yeah. I think so too. I also hope by saying I'm trying to be a good man, not whether I am or not, I hope that that kind of assists in terms of um, keeping you a little bit humble. Because if you say you're already a good man, then there's no need to try to improve, right? But saying I'm trying to be a good man, at least that gives you room to try to improve. And also recognition that you're never going to get fully there, right? You're never going to be fully a good person. which is okay, because the goal is not to be fully a good person, but the goal is to try your best to be a good person, whatever that may look like. And that's something that Freemasonry teaches us, right? The rough to perfect ashlar. The perfect ashlar, the rough ashlar is what we are in some ways. The perfect ashlar is what we may try to be, but we'll never get there. We'll never be a fully perfect ashlar, fully perfect stone, or fully square stone. But we try our best to be that. And I think that's the right approach to take. I like that raised eyebrow. I think that's a really good quote. I'm going to steal that because I actually like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, if you see, I mean, that's true for almost anything. If you see somebody who says they love their job and it's perfect and they have no complaints, they're probably not trying that hard, which I know might be a cynical take, but true effort, true work, true dedication, it comes with a lot of challenges, a lot of hard work, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. There's no way to love something without it also coming with significant amounts of challenges, which is something that I think, in some ways, that should tell you that if you're facing a lot of challenges in your life, you might be on the right path, and you should kind of, be grateful for the challenges. Be grateful for the hard days. Be grateful for the challenges. Because those are the things you'll remember when you're all done. That's a great quote. But I hope everybody is doing well. Please, if you are just joining, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. By the way, I have an interview coming up with Black Raven Meditation. She is going to be round 2 of the podcast. I can't wait to have her. So she should be out on Sunday. And I will be this weekend having a ton of events, a ton of Masonic events. I can't wait. So please hit like, hit subscribe, and let me know if there's anything you want to chat about when it comes to Freemasonry. I talked before civic engagement and crime mitigation. One of the reasons I think Freemasonry is so important is because it can potentially, by fostering stronger communities through collaborations between residents and organizations, prevent or reduce crime. Why should I subscribe? What do I get in return? You should subscribe because you will receive in return the gratefulness of a content creator, and by subscribing you'll support the channel. So if you want to support Freemasonry or my efforts to promote and talk about Freemasonry, then by all means subscribe, right? As well as if you hit the notification bell, you will be notified of when I produce any new content, go live, etc., etc. I have done an interview with the Order of Women Freemasonry, raised eyebrow. If you type into YouTube, and I was very proud to do it, with Jennifer was her name. Let me just make sure the best way to search. That's fine. I mean, I will take that. Mr. Keeps on Ticking. You don't have to support Freemasonry, or you can support the existence of Freemasonry without wanting to join, right? I can appreciate that as well. If you type in Square and Compass Order of Women Freemasons into YouTube, Google, you should be able to find it. It's episode 114, Jennifer Newell. Right? Because again, there may be many organizations which you support them existing, but not necessarily would be supportive of joining, or even supportive of Catholics joining necessarily, right? But I appreciate the support. That is very kind of you, truly. Anybody who supports me by liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, whatever it is truly, truly appreciated. And obviously, there's different levels of support. Subscribing is, something you can do for free. Commenting, liking, that's all stuff you can do for free. Patreon, you get a little bit more. It can cost money, but there's more you can also get in terms of getting the chance to make recommendations and suggestions. There's more direct communication, things of that nature. What is IDS? Or do you mean LDS, Latter-day Saints? Yeah, if you're talking about the Latter-day Saints, which is the Mormon Church, I'm not a Mormon. I understand that Mormons, yeah, the founder of it was himself a Freemason. But honestly, many groups and organizations that were founded post, 1717, because Freemasonry at the time was so ubiquitous in the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, many groups kind of, the polite word might be paid homage to, otherwise known as stole Masonic rituals and ideas for their groups. Even the Future Farmers of America was founded by Freemasons. At the time, the Young Farmers of Virginia, I think it was called. And much of their efforts or their structure is Masonic in kind of, it rhymes with Freemasonry because the four founders of the Future Farmers of America were all themselves Freemasons. As was, if you look at the Free Gardeners, that was founded on Freemasonry, the Odd Fellows, so many groups kind of, again, either paid homage to or stole Masonic structures and symbols and ideals when advancing their own groups. I'll take it. I'll take the like. Thank you to the core. I kind of wish that we in Freemasonry had sacred undergarments. For all I might not be wearing undergarments at all right now. We don't get any cool undergarments. I don't even know if they have. I've heard people say that, but it was always in kind of a joking or kind of a cruel way. So I'm not sure if they have it or not. But if they do, then they do. I don't know. Exactly, as Raised Eyebrow says, it's none of your business whether I'm wearing underwear or not, and whether anybody else is wearing underwear or not. On a completely unrelated note, I just recently watched Heretic, a movie starring Hugh Grant, where two of the main characters are Mormon, I guess they're missionaries, going door to door talking about the church. So I appreciate that, Courtney. Again, I appreciate anybody who joins at any level. I appreciated you always with the support. It was truly, truly appreciated. So thank you so much. Well, hey, again, I don't judge that stuff. People, a lot of people think Freemasonry is weird. So people think, the Catholic Church can be weird. People think, even non-religious groups, people think, like I think anybody who, for example, climbs mountains is weird. I would never do that to save my life. It's terrifying. So, if it brings them closer to their supreme being and their understanding of the Lord, then good for them. Honestly, a lot of different groups kind of have these aprons as an idea, right? Because if you think about it, even taking Freemasonry out of it or speculative masonry out of it, when it comes to stone masonry, it was so ubiquitous. It was probably the most important and influential trade guild because, of the necessity and the skills involved and the necessity of being able to build things out of stone, that the idea of an apron kind of took on a ubiquitous quality to it. And not just that, but almost any trade made use of aprons, right? Whether it was stonemasons or cooks or chefs famously, or blacksmiths or any kind of journeyman trade made use of an apron, both to hold its tools as well as protect your garments. Yes, yes, he was. Joseph Smith. Once again, I hope everybody watching this is doing well. Please, if you are just joining, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Here, chatting about Freemasonry. I'll be back on at 1 a.m. because, the 1 a.m. streams are, for some reason, I am a night owl, as is my audience. So, okay, I did not know that. Can I ask, do you know why the maritime symbolism made its way into Knights of Columbus? Were kind of some of the initial founders of it involved in maritime trade or the Navy, or is there a particular reason for that symbolism? I got 8 people, Rix, R-I-X. So, I will take 7 to 8 to whatever it is. I'm honored to have these 7 or 8 people. But if you want to help me be part of the audience, please hit like and subscribe. Oh my gosh, I had no idea, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I had no clue that the Knights of Columbus was a reference to Christopher Columbus. See, I'm learning something new here right on the stream. Thank you for sharing that. That is really, really cool. So, I mean, Columbus must have been a Catholic then, right? I guess it makes sense. I never even thought Columbus as a Catholic, but yeah. Right, Italy at the time. So I guess not a fan of the movie Heretic, says Suyog. That is really cool. So, do you mind if I ask, what was it? Why did they, if you can, I don't know what you can and cannot share. And certainly if there are, secrets related to Knights of Columbus, certainly I don't expect you to share those. If I can ask, what was it about Columbus that, like, why did the Catholic Church choose Columbus to be the kind of figurehead for Knights of Columbus? Thank you, Rix. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about Freemasonry. And thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that as well, very much. It's funny. You bring up kind of, I have no audience or whatever it is. There's a movie coming out in about 2 months, or a month and a bit, which I am beyond excited for, called The Long Walk. And The Long Walk is based on this book by Stephen King, which is one of my all-time favorite books. And there's this great quote from The Long Walk, which I adore, where they basically been walking for 4 days straight at a pace of 4 miles an hour. They're not allowed to slow down. Or, I don't want to ruin the plot for you, but I feel like the trailer already explains it. Basically, they have to walk at a set pace of 4 miles an hour. If they stop walking or slow down beneath that speed 3 times in an hour, they get shot in the head. And so they've been walking for 4 days straight. There's like 5 of them left. And he looks up and he sees this sign, and it says, only like 50 miles to Boston or something, you can do it. And the main character says, what a terribly stupid word is only. That's the worst word in the English language. I've always taken that to mean, and I love that as an idea, you should never diminish any accomplishments, right? So I refuse to use the word only in conversation, or I try to not use the word only. And when you say I have no audience, whether my audience is only 5 watching right now, or as high as 10 or even as high as 50, right? You should be grateful that they're there at all and be proud of it and not diminish it. So I truly am grateful for my audience. Okay. And so obviously Columbus, for his efforts sailing the New World, should be proud thereof. Yeah, I think it was recognized, to my understanding, it was recognized by the Catholic Church as a way to kind of give those Catholic members who wanted to join a fraternal order but could not join Freemasonry for obvious reasons, give them a group to join that was kind of, you could recognize Freemasonry within it, in the sense of you could recognize it as being a fraternal kind of private society or fraternal secret order. Pick your terms, right? Um, I think they were looking for something. Rick's Mace, Mace. Uh, I don't know. I as all Freemasons are, I'm a respecter of different beliefs and different religions, whether it be Islam, Catholicism, Christianity in general, by Protestantism, Judaism, right? I recognize and I will not revile any religious belief, whether it be Catholic, Islam, or anything else. Um, and thank you, Courtney. Truly honored. Now you're going to get a couple things in the mail. I will still obviously will be sending you your a congratulatory card, uh, and token of appreciation. But then you'll get something else as well. So uh, you'll get some commemorative coin. So thank you so much for it. I truly appreciate it. Bandit is doing very well. She is currently sleeping, as cats do often. Dog Eat Dog. Hello, Dog Eat Dog. I think I recognize your name. I think you've been on the stream before. But if you haven't, please hit like and subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. Yeah, no, I mean, and the life insurance idea of it, I mean, I would describe Freemasonry, almost any social group, as being in and of itself kind of insurance in different sense. Social insurance, a safety net, as well as in times of struggle, it can be monetary insurance as well. You can go to benevolence for support, right? But when you talk about like the social safety net, even looking at this idea of reduction in crime, if you have a brother who is a Mason, Knights of Columbus, who is struggling, who is feeling lost, who is maybe potentially considering turning to violence, maybe violence against oneself, self-harm, or violence against others, there is, from a societal perspective, a safety net that exists within Freemasonry, in that we can, as Freemasons, or he has a place to reach out. Or again, Knights of Columbus, Rotary Club, Elks, Oak, Oddfellows, Faith, whatever it might be, can turn to people and talk and say, I'm struggling right now, I need some help. Or if we as Freemasons recognize somebody struggling, we can, either approach them directly, talk to them, let them know we're there for them, or if we feel we need to, contact the police and advise that we are concerned about somebody, and we think they may be planning something. So it's a insurance and safety net, both for the brother himself and for society as a whole. I will not oil up, but I hope you will hit like and subscribe up, Tony CODM. No, I mean, a lot of Masonic lodges are struggling as well right now. It's not just KFC. I don't know if you read, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, if you read Bowling Alone, or if you watched the movie Join or Die, but both discuss the challenges being faced by fraternal or civic groups in North America. So, well, my voice does that to people because it's a very awesome voice. So you're not, it's not unique to KFC, and I'm trying to figure out how to solve it in my own way with Freemasonry, and I'm working on it. This is my attempt. This channel is my attempt to solve that. Happy birthday, Bumpy Freddy! Everybody, give some hearts to Bumpy Freddy for his birthday. I do hope once again everybody's doing well. But I think again it's like and the problem with what I'm talking about, right, is so I'm a member of I cannot because I'm a terrible singer. So I'm not going to do that because it's going to send people away from the stream. You know, I'm trying to think of how to put this. So as we talked about yesterday, right, I'm missing both of my legs I'm missing both of my legs above the knees. I'm part of this organization called the War Amps Child Amputee Program, which supports children missing limbs in various ways. One of the programs that the CHAMP program has is called Play Safe. And what they would do is they would go to schools, anywhere where there might be, like youth, kids, and they would talk about playing safely, not playing on train tracks, not, getting electrocuted, whatever it is, because they were noticing that they were developing and getting a lot of kids who were losing limbs and becoming amputees due to accidents, due to not playing safe, right? And one of the questions I once got was, I love those ads. Yeah, my name is Astar. I can put my arm back on, but you can't, so play safe. So one question I once got asked was, how many accidents have you, through play safe, prevented? The problem is there's no way to know, right? Because the accidents may get reported, but the kid who, is going to play on the train tracks decides not to and doesn't get into an accident and lose a limb. He's not going to report that anywhere, right? Or probably not going to report that. It's the same thing with Freemasonry. How many people have decided not to commit suicide because they had a Masonic lodge or Knights of Columbus to lean on in times of trouble and get emotional support, right? How many people have decided not to commit some type of criminal offense because of teachings from Knights of Columbus, because of teachings of Freemasonry, because of understandings therein, because of having support? How many people decided to take a better path in life because of Freemasonry, right? There's no way to know those numbers for sure, but it's not zero. And just because Freemasonry, Knights of Columbus, pick your term, cannot stop every criminal act, that doesn't mean they stop no criminal acts. I mean, a great way to think about it is, if you have a lake with a bunch of fish in it, and you're going to throw a net in the lake to catch fish, before you do, you can't point out and say, like, which fish will or will not get caught in the net. Some will, some won't. You can't know in advance which ones will, which ones won't. But you'll know that you'll catch some. And that's the same thing with Freemasonry. We don't know who will and will not be, I don't like to use this term, but will be helped, will be, for lack of a better term, not in a religious sense, but will be saved by Freemasonry. But some will. Well, so Tony, not everyone can see this. I went to rehab today. I'm 121 days clean. Congratulations, Tony. That is awesome. You should be very proud of yourself. 121 days is an incredible accomplishment. I am very glad that you are here, that you are on the stream. You should be proud that you are part of the world, because the world is better with you in it. In my council, I can imagine having PTSD from Korean War. And again, how many of them are still around and still here because despite the PTSD, they managed to, they managed to have a group and have people to talk to, and how proud they should be of that. So, and again, the successes aren't recorded. That's one of the biggest challenges, I think, of the world today. It's one of the biggest challenges governments face. It's one of the biggest challenges groups face. The failures are well known and well recorded. The successes tend not to get near the attention they deserve, which can make things seem very different than what they actually are in terms of how well or not well things are going in life. And yeah, I suspect if we actually had a number of all people who, for example, were contemplating suicide but decided not to because they had support through civic groups, through Freemasonry, through even Knights of Columbus, I suspect you would see some pretty high numbers, and it would give Freemasons a great deal of pride. We do for sure. Now, I am very, very hesitant um, when it comes to statistics around crime, because they are very complicated. Crime is probably, in my opinion, the most complicated statistic to track, as well as what is peace, what is not peace. But I do believe overall crime is dropping and peace is on the rise. But it's very hard to accurately or adequately measure those things. Um, Thank you, Tony. Mr. keeps on ticking, but life expectancy is much easier to judge. And yeah, life expectancy keeps going up. It dropped slightly, but it's still incredibly higher than it was in the 1800s. Ironically enough, Freemasonry helps with that. There have been studies that have shown that members who are Freemasons, or Freemasons on average live, I believe, 4 years longer than the national life expectancy, which does not surprise me because one of the major health risks that people can face is being lonely. You shouldn't, but you can drink, you can smoke, you can eat bad food, and all that stuff will not have the same level of uh, adverse health risks as being lonely. So, by the way, today I have an interview with one of my very good friends of the stream, Black Raven Mediation. I cannot wait to interview her, and then she's gonna be back on stream back on the live, or sorry, her interview will be posted on Sunday, which I can't wait to post that. I'll be posting it while I'm out traveling, so I'm gonna be super busy, but I'll try to make sure I check in. We're going to give it a bit more time. We're going to see who else joins. Interestingly enough, I just saw Fed holds interest rates steady despite pressure from Trump. It may seem weird talking about interest rates on a Masonic live stream, but I've said it a million times to the point where people are getting sick of me hearing it. You cannot separate what's happening in the world from what's happening in Freemasonry. Interest rates matter in Freemasonry, right? So it affects building loans, building financing, Masonic. It affects the membership finances, which then affect their ability to dedicate themselves to Freemasonry, pay for their dues, pay to join, things of that nature. So right? All that stuff absolutely needs to be kept in consideration when you're talking about Freemasonry, what it is and how it works. And well, I mean, Black Raven talks a lot about meditation, and she does a great job. Mindfulness matters. I've been thinking about bringing meditation to my Masonic lodges. So, to start with some meditation and meditative practices. It's going to be an interview on actually story. I like the Mask of the Red Death and the symbolism therein. Why I think it applies to Freemasonry and why just what she enjoys about it as well as Edgar Allan Poe more in general. WHIS. Why you look like a thief? I don't know, because thieves are handsome, handsome fellows. Please hit like and subscribe. Welcome back, Nova. I hope you're doing well. Good. By the way, Nova, don't forget you can support me on Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Square and Compass. It'd be wonderful. I do not. I have a cat. I have a cat. I have not. I kind of want to watch it, but I don't have Netflix. I will go on record right now. This may be a hot take, which is fine. The best streaming service out there is Tubi, Tubi. It's free and it's incredible. The second best streaming service is Disney Plus. I'm currently rewatching Angel. They are not pecan/pecan trees, but they are beautiful trees. There's one tree now. The other one we cut down. Now it's basically a bush because the trees were creating all sorts of issues on the roof. It was a nightmare because the leaves would break off, and when they broke off, they would get into the drains on the roof because it's a flat roof. So my favorite color is pink in honor of Bret the Hitman Hart. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Oh, actually, Disney Plus has some decent horror films, honestly, through Star, right? But for Disney Plus, it's more. They have a lot of great like science fiction TV shows. They have X-Files, Buffy, Angel, Sleepy Hollow, which I love. They also have a lot of like '90s kind of like they have Adventures in Babysitting from 1988, which is one of my favorite movies. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite movies. They have a lot of movies I really enjoy. Right? Raised eyebrow? I like that phrase. I was to be dubious. That should be, I should make that a poll question. I'm going to make that a poll question on Twitter because I find that phrasing really amusing to me. I'm going to say, I'm even going to tag Tubi in it. They have some great movies. They're if you want horror, and it's free, so like what can you possibly lose? I'm going to write, are you Tubi dubious? By the way, the horror movies coming out this year are insanely looking good. We just had, I will see, we just had, I Know You Did Last Summer, which was a great horror film. We've got Weapons, Together, Him, The Long Walk. We had Final Destination 3D. Like, it's insane to see how great these movies are all looking. I personally can't wait to watch them. My favorite Masonic movie? Maybe we will find some To Be Curious. That should be my next question. Are you To Be Curious? My favorite Masonic horror film, by the way, is From Hell. Actually, Mr. Keep on Ticking, that makes me curious. Freemasonry is famous for making its way into into movies, and like sometimes as a parody, sometimes more serious, like the famous Simpsons episode Homer the Great. Do you know of any movies that feature Knights of Columbus, or any movies where Knights of Columbus is referenced as like, or talked about? Movies, TV shows. I can think of, 10 to 15 movies off the top of my head where Freemasonry is referenced in a movie. Sometimes it's simply as simple as a Masonic ring is a character wears. Like in Prisoners, Jake Gyllenhaal's character wears a Masonic ring, but doesn't ever mention Freemasonry. Uh, versus sometimes Freemasonry is an actual plot point. Knights of Columbus, I love it too. I loved it too. And I've never minded when movies show Freemasonry in one of the more kind of conspiratorial lights. I think that's kind of fun. And I don't take it seriously. I've never minded that type of stuff. And you could argue in some ways the Freemasons were the good guys in that movie, right? Because they put I don't want to spoil anything. You could argue in some ways the Freemasons were the good guys. A Scatter Darkly by Philip K. Dick. Dolan's Cadillac by Stephen King. Mr. Alejandro, please hit the like and subscribe button. Aditya, also please hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I truly appreciate it. Okay, what's your favorite Philip K. Dick story? For me, it would probably be Man in High Castle. Or maybe To Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. Never read Flow My Tears or Ubik. I'll have to check them out. So then, are you a science fiction guy outside of Stanley Kubrick? Like, is that what you prefer to watch and to kind of interact with? Okay, so if Philip K. Dick is your favorite author, I assume your favorite book is a Philip K. Dick book? By the way, I was asking if anybody had heard of any Masonic lodges damaged or affected by the potential tsunami earthquake. Not heard any responses, but it seems like the tsunami warning has been downgraded significantly, so hopefully everybody is okay. On a good note, also here, Bank of Canada says risk of severe global trade deficit has diminished. I'll take that happily. Our working, I don't know what HAARP means or what HARP means, but we're all working overtime this year, wake up, so. Speculative sci-fi, just like speculative masonry. No, I agree with that. I think, but oftentimes what I find is science fiction is a really interesting genre because it's kind of like it's kind of like a loose woman in that everybody seems to use science fiction to like, I'm trying to think what the word is, to like hide what their actual genre is that they want. So like, Alien is a horror film that pretends to be science fiction, right? Terminator is a horror film that pretends to be science fiction. Aliens is an action movie that pretends to be science fiction. Um, Terminator 2 is an action movie that pretends to be science fiction. Predator is a horror movie that pretends to be science fiction. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a comedy that pretends to be science fiction. So it's one of those situations where it tends to hide what it truly is. Right now it is 2:26. The Bank of Canada holds interest rate at 2.75% as the economy shows resilience in the face of tariffs. Welcome. If you're just joining us, please take a moment, jump in the chat, say hello, hit that like button and subscribe button. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. I'll probably have to end this stream in about 10 minutes because I need to get some food. I am starving. I skipped breakfast and lunch before I have my interview. Just going to give it, like I said, about 10 more minutes. Just going to see if anyone else jumps on to say hello. Well, just roughly wake up. What is HAARP? Thank you, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, and thank you for being here. But I don't know how much. I think it was downgraded, so I don't know. I'm hoping nobody's been hurt or injured. Tsunami waves reach Hawaii, California. It looks like nobody was significantly injured, at least I hope. Not caused any material damage in Ecuador. I actually want to visit Ecuador. It's on my list of places I want to visit. High frequency active oral research program. Like weaponized sound is what it sounds like to me. How is it going, Christopher? Thank you for being here as always. Truly appreciated. I'm doing well. I'll be ending this stream soon because I need to get some money. I need to get some food at some point. Speaking of money, join my Patreon. But it's been a great stream. Talk a little bit about Freemasonry and social civic groups, how and why I think they can assist us in reducing criminal activity, providing protective factor, almost the way they are a societal insurance quality. And I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will be, I don't know if you heard me talking before, but this weekend, it is a long weekend here in Canada. I will be traveling to the States. I'm going to be visiting a whole bunch of my Masonic friends and brothers in Chicago and the Chicago area. There are there are 4 Masonic events happening in and around Chicago, and my plan is to hit up all 4 Masonic events. So just follow me on social media, pay attention to me because, yeah, I'll be doing them all. I'll be absolutely exhausted, I have no doubt, but it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to eat a lot of hot dogs because there are a lot of barbecue events. Eat a lot of hot dogs, eat a lot of good food. It's going to be a lot of fun, though, so I look forward to it very much. And I've said it a million times, I think Chicago is an absolutely incredible, is an absolutely incredible and wonderful city. I love Chicago. I love Glenview. I love all these spots. So, yeah. All right, because I have to go grab some food, I'm going to finish off this stream. I will be back 1 a.m. and yeah, I will see everybody soon. Thank you everybody for joining. I truly appreciate it. Oh, not quite yet, Rondo. I just saw. Believer, welcome. Thank you for being here. Truly appreciated. Everything is going well, Rondo. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Courtney, as well for being here. Thank you, Lapis. Thank you for being here. All right, guys, I'll be back tonight. Rondo, everybody, thank you for joining. I'll be back soon. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day. And yeah, we'll talk soon.